Chapter 9 Water. We will learn sources of water, impurities in water, properties of water, different forms of water, drinking water, supply of drinking water in a city, water for travelers. How do we save and store purified water? Water is an important natural resource for all living things like human beings, animals, and plants. About 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, out of which only 3% of the water is available as fresh water. Most of this fresh water is frozen in the form of glaciers and ice caps and not available for use. It means there is a very little water available for use. Sources of water. Water is a renewable resource. This means that fresh water on Earth gets renewed whenever it rains. You already know that rain is the purest source of natural water. Rainwater fills rivers, lakes, ponds, and some of it seeps into the ground to make groundwater. However, most of the time, the amount of water that is used up is much greater than the amount gets renewed through rainfall. That is the reason we should never waste water. Rivers, lakes, and ponds are natural sources of fresh water. The rivers that are formed from the melting snow of the Himalayan mountains are known as perennial rivers. Ganga, Yamuna, Indus, and Brahmaputra are some such rivers. These rivers have water all through the year. The rivers of peninsular India such as Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri are rain-fed or non-perennial rivers. Farmers in India depend largely upon rain, but the amount of rainfall is not fixed. Also, the distribution of rainfall is not uniform. This means that while some places get a good amount of rainfall, but others do not. Moreover, it does not rain throughout the year. Therefore, we need to conserve water by building wells, canals, dams, reservoirs and tanks. Fact File: Bhakra Nangal Dam is the largest dam in India built over Satluj River. Impurities in water. Water flows over soil and rocks when fall on the earth in the form of rain. On the way, it picks up many different minerals and salts that are soluble. It also carries insoluble substances such as chalk, mud, and stones. Water which has harmful impurities and diseases causing germs must be cleaned before drinking. Removing insoluble impurities. Insoluble impurities present in water can be removed by the following two methods. Filtration. In filtration, a filter paper is used through which the mixture is passed. Due to this, the insoluble larger solids remain at the paper and the rest of the liquid passes. Thus, the mixture gets separated. Sedimentation. In sedimentation, the mixture is allowed to stand for some time until the heavier insoluble particles settle at the bottom of the container and thus separating the liquid and the heavier insoluble solid. Removing soluble impurities. Separating dissolved substances from water can be done through two ways. Evaporation. Pour some salt water in an evaporating dish and heat it till all the water evaporates. You will find that salt has settled at the bottom of the dish. This process is called evaporation. Distillation. When we separate a dissolved substance from water by the method of evaporation, the water gets converted into water vapors and escapes into the air while the dissolved substance remains behind the dish. If we use the method of distillation, we can collect that water vapor and change it back into water by cooling. Distilled water is used in car batteries, producing medicines, and in science laboratories. Properties of water. Water, in its most common form, is liquid. It flows from higher level to the lower level. It can dissolve a large number of solids in it, like salt, sugar, milk, powder, soap, etc. When a solid dissolves in a liquid, it disappears. This liquid is called a solution. The following properties of water are: water is colorless. It has no smell. It has no taste. It gives the taste of the substance that is dissolved in it. This makes it a wonderful liquid to be used in making squash, lemonade, etc. Water has no shape of its own. Being a liquid, water takes the shape of the container it is poured into. Different forms of water. Water exists in three forms. These are solid, liquid, and gas. In the solid state, it exists in the form of ice. In the liquid state, it exists as water. In the gaseous state, it exists as water vapor or steam. Water changes its form with heating and cooling processes. That is, it changes its form due to change in temperature. Ice on freezing, on heating. Water on cooling, on heating. Water vapor. Fact file. Usually sedimentation is followed by decantation, that is, pouring out the upper liquid without disturbing the settled particles. When we keep our clothes out in the sun to dry, the water from the wet clothes changes into water vapor. This vapor evaporates in the air and our clothes get dried up. When we put some cold water in a glass with ice cubes into it, after some time we will see the drops of water on the outer surface of the glass. These are water vapors in the air. Water vapors change back into liquid form on cooling.